Hello, this is Valerie Aiello, and you're listening to IdeaDiary. I am filming today's podcast. I'm using the camera mic instead of the regular mic because I am traveling right now. So I think yesterday you could hear it fine. I didn't test it out necessarily in different spaces, but hopefully it wasn't so bad. So trying it again tonight. I always think about if you can manifest destiny or if fate is just unfolding how it was meant to unfold. Because, so the thing that I was excited, that I've been working on, that I was excited about possibly talking about today is not going to happen. And not that it's never going to happen, but it's going to take maybe an extra week or two, hopefully not too much longer, but it's not what I wanted, but I have to kind of calm down and just go with the flow. So I wanted to just take a moment and talk about that, kind of compromising and deciding, trying to figure out, if you hit a roadblock, trying to figure out what ways can you get around it? Is it something that, what are the different answers? And at some point, is it just kind of a sign that you should slow down and kind of make do with what's happening and then see if a different outcome than you expect is going to unfold in a magical way, or the way that you think it's going to happen, you're actually the how that you had planned on how things were going to unfold and how everything was going to go, and the entire process you've already planned in your mind. And then when it gets derailed, you don't really know if it's derailed because the thing that you want to happen, the only way it's going to happen is this other magical way for things to unfold. So yeah, today I just had to take a moment and think, okay, this is not my plan. This is not what was supposed to happen today. But since it is, I'm always looking on the bright side. But at the same time, maybe what I really want to happen, this has to, the path wasn't as direct as I was hoping. It has to go this crazy way. So I just thought, that's what's on my mind today, and that's what I wanted to talk about. So I just wrote down some notes. So this year especially, I've learned the lesson of stop worrying about the how. That is so not worth the time to worry about. What you need to do is just keep working and keep building, and don't force the how. Be totally open to how things can unfold. Especially if you're working with other people, learn how to compromise straight out the gate. It's like, if you've said your piece and you've said kind of what, your ideas are, and it's just not flowing, everything isn't going smoothly, just stop immediately and look for the compromise and ask, who you're working with, the team, let's compromise here. And kind of, when you do that, new ideas come. Because nobody wants to be the jerk that doesn't compromise, I think. Maybe not. Yeah, when it comes to fate, I worry because a lot of the things that were, a lot of my big things that came to me and the successful things, I was working towards it, but it was always kind of and it was hard work. Not saying it was easy, but it was I was working towards it, and the door would open, and it was just kept flowing and flowing and flowing until I changed courses or I decided to do a different thing. So I think about fate a lot because I spent a lot of time kind of recently trying to make something happen, and it ended up not happening the way that I thought it could. Not that it's I mean, who knows how things will unfold, but I felt like I was trying really hard and not getting very great results. And it was something that I really wanted. And sometimes I think if I just would have not tried so hard or tried at all, would the same thing have happened? That's why it's kind of hard with fate, because it's like, maybe it's your fate just to have those things unfold that you want. It's kind of sad if you work really, really hard and you never get it, which I think is things don't necessarily work out that way. It might not happen in the time frame that you want, but it does usually work out. Or you get what you want and you kind of discover you didn't have to work so hard, so you worked really, really hard in the wrong direction on a lot of things, and then you ended up getting what you wanted. It's very confusing. I know I'm not explaining this right, but I guess it's kind of philosophy and things to think about. So there's something called the Tao, and this philosopher, Lao Tzu, I guess people don't know if he actually was alive or not. There's controversy about who the person actually was, but there's something called Wu Wei, and it's basically what it is non-action. So there's non-action, effortless action, and action of non-action, which is contradictory. Yes, but that's why this topic is really confusing, because even if you are decades world celebrated philosopher, it's still the interpretation of what you're talking about can go a million different directions. So it's kind of stuff that you've got to figure out on your own. I think that's the hard part of learning lessons and growing and becoming smarter, I guess. You kind of have to learn yourself what it is that you need to find out to get to the next steps. So a lot of times there are people that can tell you exactly what you need to hear and tell you the exact path for you to be successful, and you can't hear it because you don't know things that you need to know for it to compute into your brain. So sometimes you just have to take 5 years of your life working on stuff or not working on stuff to learn some sort of lesson. That the only way to get to the level that you want is to learn that lesson. Yeah, so when you're flowing, or trying to go with the flow, you're kind of put between boring and anxiety. So you don't want anxiety and you don't want boring. So you've got to kind of figure out how to live. And I think the answer is you just keep working and enjoying yourself and having specific goals in your mind. Sometimes having pivot goals and different, it's fun to imagine and to think. You almost have to imagine, and you have to think, and you have to come up with goals so that you can have something to work towards, So it's not totally effortless just to see where you want to end up. Although there are some people that do that and just travel the world seeing what happens to them, and that's what they want. Some people have specific things that they want. So it's really unlimited on what you could flow towards, I guess. So when you think about stuff you don't control, like you could think of endless and endless and endless amounts of things you don't control. So you don't control your heartbeat, you don't control your breathing, you don't control who your parents are, who you're married. Well, you control who you're married to, but you don't necessarily, the people that you find attractive or not, you're not really in control of who you fall in love with. It just kind of happens. But when you're in the flow, you're connecting, and I guess this person put this one way. Basically, you want the path of least resistance, and I've heard that term a lot of times, and different people say that. But if you think about being in a stream and you're swimming upstream, so you're not going with the flow, and everything's a fight, you might not be actually getting anywhere if the flow is strong enough, and you might just be getting little bits at a time. So it's like, I did that for a long time, and I don't want to do that anymore. So pretty much any problem or anything weird that comes up, I kind of go with it now. And when things aren't in exactly the way in my mind, I go with it. I have things a little bit easier because I already decided a long time ago that I don't do anything I don't want to do. So going with the flow was just kind of like, it's either boring, but it's never anxiety. It's either boring or it's fun because I'm doing what I want to do. So there's that. But so a lot of times, so you're in the stream and you're swimming upstream, just fighting the current, trying to make something happen. Or you could be holding onto a branch and just kind of staying still and let everything happen around you. Or you could just decide to go with the flow, and you're gonna get somewhere when you do that. So I like that little analogy to kind of ground me and to think about, there's benefits with going with the flow. And if you already have made all these decisions of what you're not gonna do, and you've made all these decisions on all these options and things that you would like to happen, I think going with the flow is really healthy and really good, and there's possibly more magic and things can happen faster when you do that. So if things aren't going your way, like they didn't go my way today for me, but I'm just kind of embracing it, and I'm thinking about all the ways that, oh, well, since that didn't happen this way, maybe it could happen this other way, and on and on and on. Anyway, I guess that's the end of the show today. Sorry, I guess traveling and stuff, shows are going to be a little short. I'm just going to have to go with the flow on that. But my goal is 15 minutes, and that'll come back as soon as I can get back to my desk and keep working and all that stuff. I still don't know how to end the show, so I'm just going to play the music.